Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. Are you boys ready to travel to the Middle East and do some casual whitewashing racism
Hey,
today?
we got
I'm
a
looking for
partly
weapons,
Persian
okay?
man here. We have a partly Persian man here. I'm more Persian than Jake Gyllenhaal. Got like 4% Persian DNA. Thank
You
you,
could definitely,
Ancestry.com.
yeah, you could definitely pass as
Always.
more of a
Yeah,
Persian
but
than
how
him.
many Lebanese women have asked you if you're also Lebanese? Because I'm two for
Many.
two there.
Oh, I
It
got a
has to
lot.
do
I
with it
get
has
I
to do
get
with being hairy,
Jewish.
hairy in the right ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hairy in the right ways and like not
It was
a
also at a point in
pink
time where I was very
complexion.
sun-baked because I was working outside more often in college.
Yeah, and as long as you don't have a pink complexion, they're like, maybe you're one of the light skinned ones. You're like, at least I have I'm the swarthy Italian. You got the swarthy German.
Yes.
Yeah, you could not level any of those at Jake Gyllenhaal or at basically any of the major cast, like maybe with the exception of Ben Kingsley.
Well,
Yep.
yeah,
Well,
because of
and with the what's his name? I forget the merchant's name.
Alfred
But
Molina, Alfred
Yeah.
Molina, Doc
yes,
Ock,
yes,
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock. Which Andrew did not believe me at first when I was like, "Is that Doc Ock?" And then we had to
Yeah,
look
of
it up.
course it
Yeah,
is.
I didn't immediately recognize
I
him
mean,
at
this was a
first.
I was actually being generous in our last episode when I said it was I was thinking 2008. It was 2010, which
Yeah.
does downgrade it in points for me for
Oh, for sure.
whitewashing in the time period.
What it's allowed to get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were two years into Obama. Come on.
Yeah, see, at least Ben Kingsley is yeah, he is a British
Yeah.
national, but he is descended
Well,
from his
he's like,
father, I think, was
yeah.
Indian,
Oh, so it's
and
backwards colonialism,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he is a product of colonialism,
sure.
nonetheless.
So see, there's a positive outcome of colonialism. You get Ben Kingsley. So
So him playing Gandhi was not was not as bad as maybe some people thought.
Yeah.
Me,
If his
me
dad was
included.
white, yeah, if his dad was white, it would have made it worse.
Yeah, I wonder what Alf. I don't think Alfred Molina
He's
is.
Spanish.
He's
Yeah,
Spanish, yeah.
yeah. So no.
So it's
Although,
just
although,
it's the
although,
equivalent
although
of
it
me.
depends if he's descended
Depends
from,
where.
Rwandan,
if he's it depends what era of
Southern,
Spain. Or to say
yeah,
no,
in
Yeah,
southern Spain or northern
he
Spain.
could have some Moorish background
Yes.
there.
yeah, yeah, for sure. No, he definitely does.
But our two leads here, as
You see,
white
the
as white
problem
as
is
they
that we have to
come.
dig that deep to be able to justify it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I love the woman that was playing
The
the
princess.
fucking queen, the princess, whatever. She's British. She's
Uh-huh.
of German descent as well. They made her so orange. She was Snooki level orange, and I kept saying to Andrew that she looked like they plucked her right out of like a 1950s or like the Ten Commandments. It looked like she was just
Oh,
plucked
good
out of the
ball.
Ten
Yeah,
Commandments
Yeah.
and thrown into this movie.
this was like that era. So
Fucking Cleopatra.
the actress is Gemma
Yeah.
Arterton.
Arterton.
I don't know how you actually pronounce her last name because she was like kind of the new it girl for a very brief moment in this time.
Ble-
She did Clash of the she was Io in Clash of the Titans and
Oh,
then
I
the
forgot
There,
about
that's
that.
where it was.
and Princess the
That's why.
princess here. And honestly, I confuse the
And
roles every time. It's the same
oh,
character
now I
basically.
am. Yeah, that's
And
why it looks like she's just plucked out of a 19, 50s style or like 60s style fucking,
I will sit
Middle
here and I
East
will stand for
Greek
Clash of the
movie.
Titans forever. I love that
she
Great
movie.
movie.
she also played a Bond girl in I think No Time to No, not No
No,
Time to
Quantum of
No,
Die.
Solace. I think it
Quantum
was
of
Quantum. I
Yeah,
think it
Solace.
was Quantum
And
Solace.
there's like
at
strawberry
that time period, it
shortcake or
was quantum.
something.
Amazing.
Yeah,
The
at that
Quantum
time
Solace is
period,
the
it was
one
quantum.
that has smoothed over
Yeah,
my brain.
Quantum is
So
the absolute worst of the Daniel Craigs.
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, the real best is always Casino because you're there for the surprise cock and ball torture that you weren't expecting in a James Bond movie.
Classic. Uh, but yeah, this let's start off. I've got a very little bit of background on this. Honestly, not a whole lot, but we've already gone over like the who like the top cast were because everyone else is basically like a medium to no name person.
And
Basically,
Doc Ock is the standout in this
without a
ensemble. He
doubt,
was the
like
best performance. He
I
made the
know,
movie.
I know when Matt was like saying like, yeah, there's only one actually good performance in this, and as soon as I turned it on and saw that he was in it, I was like, oh yeah, it's Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask him, so who was it? But then I knew the answer right
Yeah.
away.
You
Yeah,
didn't need to
you
ask
immediately
once you
know.
turned it on.
Have I
You
told
might
you
have thought you
about the
might have sat and been like
Umbaka?
maybe Ben Kingsley, but no.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
at first, because it takes
He
him a
was
little
phoning it
while.
in.
It takes a little while for Sheikh Amar to make his appearance. That's Doc Ock's character. I was like, yeah, is he talking about Kingsley? And it's like Kingsley is a good actor, so like him phoning it in is still pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
Yes.
still
exactly.
Yeah.
decent.
It was just
Uh,
mid.
A Kingsley 7 is anyone else's 9.
Yeah, it was good. Nothing tops the it's the one actual joke from the MCU that I actually like was Ben Kingsley as the
Oh,
actor. The
Trevor
act,
Slattery.
yeah, Trevor Slattery. That was the one good bit they ever did.
I would like
The
this.
best. It was because he was a soccer fan too. It was the fact that he was just going off about like Arsenal or something like that while being interrogated by Iron Man.
I like that they totally telegraphed who his character truly was through his eye makeup.
Oh
They
yeah,
made him the only
he
one
he
that
he had
actually like
he had the
looked
smoke. He
Persian.
had the smoky eye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were like
this also
everyone
came in an
else
era
is
where
like
they weren't
white
afraid to just
looking.
be like, yeah, let's just make the bad guy look evil from the get
Yeah,
go.
So from our first point about this film, there are I think two characters that have voice lines that are not white. One of them has like maybe two lines. It's like Jake Gyllenhaal, Prince Dastan's his like number two from
Yes.
the army who gets
yeah,
stabbed
yeah.
very early, and it's like he's got like a line
Yes.
before he gets stabbed, and then spoiler,
When he comes
skipping
back,
to the end
yeah,
when they undo everything from the movie, when he's back alive magically at the end, he's got another line. And then there's Sesso, the Umbaka. Have I told you
yes.
about the Umbaka? He's the only non-white character that's got actually a good amount of lines.
And
Yeah.
like the
Well, you
only
see, he
like
has a name. What you
Persian,
said, the other guy, he was a
He
number two,
he has a
just a
name.
number.
He has a name because the majority of
yeah.
like whenever the line would be returned to him, it would just be his name, and I forget what it is. I don't remember what it is. I think it started with a B, but like I couldn't tell you what it is.
Bullslaw.
The
Sure, let's
the
go with that.
the only like Arab or Persian like person that had a close-up shot was a little boy that like received money on a street and like was wearing
There
a
were like there
cloth
were like brown people in
loincloth.
the film, but they were all extras. It was all like the soldiery
Yeah,
and
but that's what I'm saying. This kid got like you saw it was a close up, just him in the shot pretty much. That he was the only one. None of the extras got
so
that.
it's very jarring wherein like the
That wasn't
beginning
an
of the
actual actor either. They just went out and handed money to a
Yeah,
Middle
when they
Eastern
were
child on the
filming.
street and filmed him like when they filmed those USPCA ads of
It's because they filmed it in Morocco.
Did they? Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
His name's Beast, by the way. BIS.
okay. All right, so let's just get a quick little background on this. So this was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer's production company. Sought the rights to the movie in 2004, just a year after the game's original release in 2003. So this movie is like a very loose adaptation of the game, The Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
yeah, and then they released a movie adaptation game or something that was like related-ish to the movie around like the 2010 2011 time frame if I remember correctly.
Did anybody play the original Sands of Time?
No.
Not when it came out, but I tried it. I don't know, in the past 6 years or so.
I think like the only Prince of Persia game I played was like some Game Boy version, like either like a demake or some like spin-off. I forget. I'm gonna look it up. Which Prince of Persia Game Boy. Oh,
I have not
I
played
guess it
any.
was this. There, I guess they did have a Sands of Time version for the Game Boy. Yeah, Game Boy Advance. Yeah, Game Boy Advance, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time must have been, like one of the demakes, basically.
There's
I
very
love that.
much
I loved that era of we're gonna release a game on all platforms, but we're gonna make it different on every platform.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
yes.
I
There
think
was not
I
very
played a little
much
bit of that.
gameplay or like game
I don't know. See, I disagree. I disagree. Like from that like
It had, it
opening,
had, it had a lot of
it had
cool parkour.
bits.
like a lot
Yeah.
of like every set piece, every major set piece was like that's like a video game ass direction right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Like
Sure.
his
you saw the button prompt.
yeah, it's like his invasion of the castle is purely yeah, that was like that's gameplay. That's like,
Yeah.
that's
That
inspired
was
directly
like the
by gameplay.
biggest standout. That and like when they're sliding later with like the
Because
sand.
The
movement is
sand trap,
basically the
yeah,
whole
at the end,
point
yeah.
Yeah.
of the Prince of Persia games. At least at their like core, they were all about like good feeling parkour and movement
Right.
around a level
Yeah.
for
Right.
platforming.
Speaking of which, and because Matt would be the one who's most likely to play Metroidvania, what of the good reviews of the new Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown game, which was, the large reason why we chose to do this movie now is because there's a new Prince of Persia game out. What have the reviews swayed you in any way? Do you think you may pick it up some point on a discount?
It's a game that I would only buy on discount just because I see all of the good reviews and I acknowledge that, but part of me just can't like accept Ubisoft doing something that isn't going to somehow try to fuck me at some point.
At some level, yeah, they're gonna. It's
Yeah,
like it's gonna come out that the game was just some elaborate way to like farm your data and send it and sell it to the Saudis.
it's like you buy the game, you get like 90% of the way through, and then it just keeps resetting your save over and over again until you buy the battle pass.
Yeah, I think it's been out long enough at this point that like people probably would have discovered that, but maybe they implement it later on.
Post
Uh,
patch.
yeah.
I
So
mean, they're the ones who recently were like, "Get used to not owning your games," right? That was
yes,
that was Eve's.
that was their head of their subscription service, their whatever their
Yeah,
subscription strategy, whatever was saying
Prince
that. Yeah.
Prince of Persia for me falls squarely into that category of game that I want to play. It looks fun. I want to buy it. It has good reviews, but I know it is not for me, and I stop myself from spending the money that I will inevitably have wasted when I play
yeah.
like 2 hours
Right.
of
Play
it
for
and put
two
it
Right.
down.
hours.
Right. No, that's where I come down onto this game, and it's largely just because it's a Metroidvania.
Hmm.
There are parts of it that
Buy it
look
on Steam,
interesting
play
to
it for
me.
like 2.5 hours just past the refund window.
Yeah. I don't think it's just for me, but
Buy
I
it at
mean,
Best Buy, return it.
who knows how cursed, say this will eventually be, but I will keep my eyes open for the remake of Sands of Time to see what happens
If that
there.
ever comes out.
If it ever comes out, but even if it does, it's probably so cursed,
I also
with
saw
its
today that
development
they're
that
doing they're theoretically officially always good with rumors doing a Black Flag remake
oh
and have
yeah,
been working on
that's
it.
basically
I
all,
saw that.
and that's a
Yeah.
good transition to the point I wanted to make is like why I am kind of interested in it and why like I was pointing at the screen at that invasion segment at the beginning, when he's infiltrating the tower, because he does like the leap of faith before leap of
Hmm.
faith thing,
Oh
where
yeah.
they do the
Yeah.
slow motion and he stands up, basically like at the prow of the Titanic and does the dive down and.
Mhm.
Part of me thinks like, yeah, I maybe would enjoy like the classic Prince of Persia with with updated quality of life improvements, which is why I'm paying attention for the remake, because this was, this is what started Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed was originally supposed to be there had been a couple sequels
and you
at this
could
point.
see the DNA in them.
Yeah, it was originally meant to be another Prince of Persia game, and it just
But at that point in time,
evolved.
Prince of Persia was starting to slow down and kind of lose momentum as an IP. Was another driving force in creating a new gaming IP to try to work off of.
Well, and it was a time where they were actually creating new gaming IP. Like now over a decade ago, where now we can just recycle for the next generation.
Let's see, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Skull and Bones, which is just Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but just the ship part. Yeah, I mean, then it's just like
Do they have any other
their
major franchises at the moment? Because even
their
things
new
like
stuff they're
Rayman is
doing,
dead.
air quotes, is like Avatar and that Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did Ubisoft do Rainbow Six? Are they Rainbow Six?
I think they're Rainbow Six.
Yeah,
I could look that
are.
up to verify
I think-
because
But I think they
Because
are.
that's still popular. That is still popular.
Yeah.
Um. All right, but so
It's
this was
always in the $5 bin.
this was a
Yep.
cool detail that for me that like I like to see on these adaptation projects when they involve the original creators. I like that whenever there's general adaptation things going on, no matter what medium is being adapted. However, this movie the series creator, the game series creator Jordan Mechner was like a part of the screenwriting team throughout its evolution. Um, but so I like it when the original creators and the creatives are part of the process because it really, kind of helps retain the spirit of these properties. But a non-screenwriter should never be, like an author or, a video game maker should never be allowed to write a movie script on their own. Let's take, you need to look no further than the fucking Fantastic Beasts movies and, just see how fucking absolute dog shit of a screenwriter. I mean, Joan, was never that good of a writer anyways, even in her books, let alone her politics and all that. That's not part of the discussion, which we all know where we stand on that. But she's a dog shit
Boo, Joan.
screenwriter. She's a dog shit screenwriter. Like those movies are fucking terrible. And so
no,
they
you just don't understand. They didn't get to finish their story. You'll never get it.
and I'm not propping up most Hollywood screenwriters either. I think most of them, particularly when it comes
They
to adapting
understand.
shit, are also bad at it. But when they can come together and kind of marry the craft of knowing how to write a film and the knowledge
Adapt
and the
writing.
yeah, and having the heart behind the property, I think is going to be your best bet. And I think it kind of shows in this one. I find this movie largely inoffensive. I don't think it's not taking home any awards.
Other than
other
the
other than the
the
racisms,
colorism
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
racisms and all of that.
As a movie, I find it
Yes,
inoffensive.
agree.
I mean,
There's
so
some good set
I mentioned it
pieces.
earlier.
Pacing is pretty good, even where you can
I
tell they
mentioned it
had to
earlier
make
that
cuts.
you have to look at it.
Pretty
You have to look
done-
at it through the
done pretty
lens
well.
of the time when it comes to that stuff. So the most offensive part to me about this movie that it was boring.
Yeah, there were moments where like
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. The set pieces were pretty good. They didn't top that first bit. That first bit, which
Yeah.
again to me
They,
was like
they blew
this
their
is-
load on the start.
it's like this is
Mhm.
this is straight out of a video game. I'm hooting and hollering, having a good time. When he and his like when Prince Destan and his, which it bothers me that's his name, that like
Yeah.
I want to say Dustin.
Dustin.
and
He's Dustin.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Dastan.
I was
It's
calling
hard to
him
say.
I was calling him Gaston
Yeah.
because I learned that it was a Disney
No
movie, so I was like, it's just
one's
Gaston
Prince like
and another.
Deston. No one runs
Yeah,
like Deston.
exactly.
No one helps kill his uncle like I am Deston.
The bit where like he's got his special crew of street rabble who are like
Yeah.
expert marksmen. They're like they've propelled him halfway up the city wall, and then they're shooting crossbow bolts
Yeah.
as
Ping, ping,
handholds,
ping.
like right in the mortar spots.
Yes.
And they've got the
Yeah.
one that almost hits his hand. That that was pretty funny. But again, like just me pointing at the screen. That's a video game. That's a video game. I'm watching a video game. Was good,
So
and like I found that bit enjoyable.
I agree, but to Matt's point about it being boring, I that does stand out, and like my entertainment was me, making fun of it a bit, and enjoying the set pieces. But when you compare it to the other movies that came out at the time that are similar to this, not as a video game adaptation, but just
Tropic Thunder.
Oh my God,
I
fucking
mean,
classic.
one of the best movies ever.
Fucking
So
classic.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking
I
about
think Step Brothers was also in that year.
well, the movies that are similar to this, those movies are very different than
Yeah.
Prince of
I was
Persia.
I was just pulling out movies from 2010 that, when you viewed from a lens of today, also are rather offensive.
Yeah, but those are still great movies. But what I'm trying to say is like Clash of the Titans came out around this time. Like if you compare
This movie is neither good enough nor bad enough. Say
Yes.
like
Yes.
Clash of the Titans
Like,
is bad, but that's what makes it enjoyable and
it's so
fun.
great. And like there's the Kraken in there, and like
Hmm.
it's big and boomy and
And
shit
Liam
like
Neeson,
that.
and
And
he
like
says the things.
Yeah.
yeah, and like Prince of Persia has the time gimmick that at some points does look like is like cool magic shit, but they don't utilize it enough to
When did
to like
we
make
already
it
mentioned
anything
Joan at one
exciting.
point? When did she create the Time Turner? That was book 3, book 4.
Yeah,
When did that come out?
in
2000.
like the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The
it
books
might
came
have
out in the
predated.
Or
90s.
early aughts. It might have been around.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was. I was thinking because the original Sands of Time was 2002, so I was thinking book 3 might have been close to that point in time, and I could say she stole it from Sands of Time.
Everybody does timey-wimey bullshit though.
Yeah.
No one's got a license on that.
But like the
Doctor
when
Who
they
does.
do the time shots and like he's going through time, it's like very cool and like flashy, big budgety,
Way better than the
like
Flash did it.
CGI movie, whatever. It was decent, yeah. So they didn't utilize that aspect of it or like any magical things. So it was like a watered down fucking Troy in a sense with like the battles and
Except
uh
Troy was at least more just overtly trying to be quote unquote realistic.
yeah, no, I'm not saying Troy's a bad movie. I enjoy Troy. It's a good one, but you know what I mean? Like they don't hit on a Troy type movie and they don't hit on a Clash of the
Brad Pitt
Titans.
playing a
I find it surprising you guys are saying that you thought things looked good. I thought even for the time the CGI was trash in this movie.
Honestly,
Oh, no,
really?
that.
I thought I didn't find that. I thought it like it, kind of,
My comparison internally was like
it
the
handled-
Iron Man movies, which are
it
around
handled-
that time.
Oh, okay. But to
That
me,
was
like
also
I
when
never
Disney
there
was
was no
saucing with
there
their
was no
VFX.
there was no moment that really took me out of it in terms of its visuals.
So
You know what I
so
think
I have
most?
to-
You know what took me out most was the obvious stunt double swaps. Like you saw just this some random dude's
that
face.
was gonna point out.
You just see some
No,
random dude's face, or like
hold on.
so many
Worse than
times.
that. Worse than that. And Andrew had to rewind it so he could see it because I saw it and I was cracking up. In the scene where Ben Kingsley kicks the princess and like Jake Gyllenhaal has to catch her and they're like hanging on the cliff.
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
You
the
see
climax.
from the back angle, like close up, or no, sorry, from the shot kind of like opposite of Ben Kingsley's kick, you see Jake Gyllenhaal grab her arm and get hold of her arm. Then there's a cut to another view, like more panned out and from behind,
Obvious
and
dummy.
she's falling. She's not. He doesn't have a grip on her anymore. So the actress or stunt double is still like falling, and then you see on the like they zoom in on him catching her. So it's like
Do you see her falling onto the cushion, the big
Yes.
padded cushion?
Like I wish we were a video podcast and could splice this in because it's just beautiful. I'm not giving it the justice that it deserves as a shitty edit by some like production assistant, editing assistant.
There's one point I wanted to bring up to you guys in terms of its production that like when I was reading into it, it was like I don't see the connective tissue here. It was largely just because this was another major, Bruckheimer production, big franchise that like it's a stretch calling it an adaptation, but technically it is. But they kept saying like both in terms of how they wanted to adapt it as well as their expectations of it. They wanted this movie to be the new Pirates of the Caribbean.
It was not.
Yes.
Nothing brings me back to the late aughts more than something trying to be the next Pirates of the Caribbean.
And it's like,
And
what do you mean by that?
They
It's like,
adapted a ride. This is a video game. That makes sense, right? That's the same thing.
Because like the reasoning I saw behind it is they're like, oh, we want it to just be, a loose story adaptation. We're not doing a one-to-one. We're gonna take little elements from it. And they did that, and I think they did a fine job of that. Even my cursory knowledge of the plot of the original game, you see little bits here and there that are repeated. But there's like, what fucking story are you adapting from the ship ride at Disney World? Well, like what the
There's
fuck?
pirates.
Yeah, so
There's no story there.
here's a core
it's
here's
just
a core
adapting
childhood
IP.
memory of Matt. My family took me to Disney World right before my parents got divorced because they were trying to save their marriage with a family vacation. Which is a horrible idea,
Nice.
by the way.
Nice.
Anyone out there listening, don't take that advice.
Were the Boy Scouts there?
No, it was a family vacation.
Spoiler,
I don't know
it
if they
didn't
came.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, at least two of them before we went, I think. Maybe just one. Whatever age time period that was. So I had the movies in my head before I went on the ride, and I was expecting the ride to have something similar to the movies in ambiance or core to it. And waited in line for like an hour and 15 minutes to go through this little boat tour that had nothing to do with the movies, and I was super disappointed.
Yeah, that would be a disappointing experience. I could understand that.
There was no Jack Sparrow, there was no monkey.
See, they've retconned Jack Sparrow into the ride nowadays.
Yeah. What they should have done for this movie, though, if they wanted to create another Pirates of the Caribbean, was have Jack Sparrow, aka Johnny Depp, play the Prince of Persia.
So yeah, he's racially ambiguous enough.
Yeah, he's more Persian presenting than Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
that he would have been
just
covered
because of
in
the jewelry.
rings.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It would have been covered in rings, that eye makeup. He's already got it. They don't even have to like get him in wardrobe, really.
I mean, that was
just
a point
send
in
him out
time
there.
where all of his roles were just Jack Sparrow in a different world.
Yeah, when he was
like, ooh, I'm
what, Tonto in
yeah,
yes,
in Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
There was the what was it? The Neverland. No, the fucking Alice in Wonderland.
mm-hmm.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
the Mad
yeah.
Hat. He's
He's the Mad
Hatter.
Hatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's just playing himself.
He's got gypsy vibes, which translate to anything.
I was told we can't use that word.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to use that word.
We're gonna have to beep that out, Matt.
Oops.
Beep that out.
Yeah, so the production of this movie ran from like 2004 to 2010, which,
This is one of the early video game movie like production hells, if I remember correctly.
But it was largely because of the 2007-2008 writer's strike. That was the big thing. It wasn't that it went through like that many screen treatments. It like didn't
I'm
like
snapping
lose...
my fingers and pointing at the screen right now. I've seen this one before. How have you seen this one before? It hasn't happened yet.
So that was the big reason behind that. But yeah, like there weren't that they didn't like lose directors or shit like that. It was, from what I could tell, the delay largely came from the writer's strike and then of them wanting to capitalize on proper scheduling. I don't have it.
They had Doc Ock.
I forget who it was more his release schedule. They didn't. I forget what movie it was that they didn't want it to compete with.
And
Clash of the Titans.
Avatar.
No, no.
no, it was Transformers, I believe.
Yes, it was Transformers
Ooh,
Dark of
there
the
it
Moon. It
is.
was Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's what it was.
I will
Which
say,
again, boring movie versus action-packed movie,
Still one of the worst of
oh
the
yeah,
Oh
of
yeah,
the
that was
Transformers.
when
All
the
of them are
Transformers downfall
That's
started
the
Was
inflection.
that
rapidly.
the
That's the
one that
inflection point of the
which
start
one is
of
that?
the
Ben,
Transformers ones. That's
did
the
we
one with
see
That's the
that
Sentinel
one
third.
in the
Prime. That's the one with Sentinel Prime.
That's the
all right.
third one.
Does it have dinosaurs?
No,
Mm-mm.
No.
that's the one after that or two after
Yes.
Okay.
that.
I think that's the last one I saw, and then we smoked in a park.
I honestly
Gosh.
don't think I saw the dinosaur one. I'm pretty sure Dark of the Moon might have been the
Yeah.
last one I
Oh,
saw.
so it was that one then? Because
Is
it
Dark of
was
the
with
Moon
you that we
the
smoked in a
first
park.
one with
No,
uh
it's still Sam
with
Witwicky.
it's not Marky Mark?
No,
No, it's still Sam Witwicky.
Okay,
yeah,
I've seen the Mark Wahlberg one. I have seen
Okay,
that.
I'm pretty sure that's the one we saw in theaters.
Because Mark
And that one
Wahlberg's
has
first one
some
wasn't dinosaurs; it was
questionable
the
age
night,
things.
right? Last night.
yes.
That's what it is.
We've completely derailed now.
Yeah.
This is a Transformers
Yeah.
podcast.
I'll,
Transformers ratings right now. Rise of the Fallen,
We've
surprisingly
transformed.
good because it's funny.
I will bring us back on track and say that um while I do think Jake Gyllenhaal is a good actor, I think he has leading man looks but not vibes. He's not a
He
leading
needs to
man.
be a supporting actor.
He only
Or
has
like
he
a
only
more
weird
has
leading
creepy.
man.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
he only has the leading man vibes when he's being an absolute deranged psychopath.
Yes.
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 Like in
Nightcrawler, anybody?
Nightcrawler, great
Nightcrawler,
movie.
and
great,
what's the
great
one where he
film.
destroys
Donnie
like
Darko.
buildings?
Yeah, Donnie Darko is a good one.
There's one where
I
he
don't
like
know
has
what
mental
Matt said.
breakdowns and just like goes into buildings and like destroys walls.
I think you're talking about Donnie Darko.
No,
Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't remember that
Demolition
one.
isn't Demolition Man isn't
that's
that
a
Denzel?
I'm
no.
getting this.
Yeah, Demolition Man.
Demolition
Well, so
Man is
to-
Oh no, it's not
Sly.
Denzel. It's Sly and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Demolition,
all right, so to get
2015 comedy thriller.
Huh, I don't remember that one.
What the fuck?
Grieving investment banker Davis Mitchell
Oh, you're
returns to
right.
work after losing his beloved wife in a tragic car accident.
Oh, I've seen there
He
there are
goes postal.
there are lots of gifs and memes of his character from this one.
Yeah.
Never seen the movie. but I've
He's
seen-
wearing like a loose fitting business suit and just like destroying shit.
nice. So
But yeah.
to get back to his looks, at least in this film, they gave him a terrible wig to wear that was
Ooh.
just not set right on his head. It was always like weirdly greasy.
The
when it
hairline
shouldn't
was just a
be.
little bit weird.
The hairline was so bad. That's what I'm saying. Like it
was
was
like
not set
partially
right on his head.
skewed. It was partially skewed. Like it's like they wanted to do a middle part, but then like kind of put it
Like
off.
side parted
They
it.
kind
Yeah.
of put it
Yeah.
off
Yes.
just a little bit
Like,
off to the side.
Diagonal part.
Yeah, it was
What I
weird.
feel like really happened is like on a horse or something, the wig like shifted, and they're like, "Fuck, we filmed
no.
so much
Yeah,
of this
continuity,
with the wig like that.
continuity."
Yeah, continuity, and we can't do those were expensive scenes, so that for the rest of the film,
We've already
it was
killed
just
the horses
shifted.
because they're useless now.
Yeah, they've
They've
already
been sent to the
become
glue
meat.
factory.
Like
You
that's
think I'm
totally
joking,
what
but-
happened, and it's so shifted. They just had to keep it. They're like, fuck, we're screwed. God, that person got fired. The one that set the wig originally, for sure.
How much money would you guess this movie made?
It surprised me.
2010, so cinema was kind of in a weird spot because of the recession.
I have no clue about movie
$52
budgets.
million.
Mhm.
It could be north of 100 though. It could be like 125.
I was surprised by the financials. I know them, so I'm not going to guess, but I was surprised when I saw it.
It's priced
So-
high then.
So I'm looking up like the actual list because the note I had here was it was able to gross a worldwide total of 335 million. At the
Not too
time,
shabby.
it overtook Lara Croft Tomb Raider as the highest grossing video game adaptation of all time. It held that record until 2016 when it was surpassed by Warcraft, another podcast favorite here. it has since now fallen down the list to eighth in line as I'm
Well,
looking
yeah,
up
I mean, like
here.
the Mario
However,
is
I don't count one of them. There's one. What is like? It is based off a video game series. There's a Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie, Rampage.
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 Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah, it's
What
an
the
Yeah.
arcade
fuck?
Yep.
cabinet game.
So
Yep.
what the fuck is that based off of? Do
Fun
we?
game.
So are we
Arcade game.
Are we
Yeah.
counting that one?
Oh,
Yeah,
it
that
counts. It
counts.
counts.
All right, so
Mhm.
he's down at number eight. He's down at number eight. The list goes Prince of Persia, the Angry Birds movie, embarrassing.
Hilarious.
Oh my.
Embarrassing.
I count
Uh,
Rampage over Angry Birds for sure.
Sonic the
I
Hedgehog
can
2,
I can say I've
Uncharted.
seen the Angry Birds movie.
I have. I'm pretty sure I have.
I've
Um,
not.
isn't Ted Lasso in it? Isn't he like the
Yes.
voice of the main guy?
Yeah, he's the
He's
Angry
he
Bird.
is the Angry Bird. Yeah, so Sonic the Hedgehog
Is
2,
Detective Pikachu
Uncharted.
on
Yes,
there?
I'm getting there. Uncharted, Rampage, Warcraft is number three.
Yep.
Then Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and then the
Nice.
number one is Super
Mario.
Mario Bros.
Yeah.
With
Detective
I
like
mean,
Pikachu.
almost three
yes.
times the gross of the Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Nice.
Detective
I
Pikachu is like
mean,
450
Mario was the
million,
first video game movie to break 1 billion, which is
1.36 billion.
yeah.
Target is selling some deranged Mario movie, Mario and Luigi, like figurines, like 18, 20-inch figurines that are supposed to look like the movie characters. So they're like kind of lifelike ish, and the uncanny valley is it honestly it's not even that. They just look deformed and deranged, and like they someone
Well,
fucked
your
a
first
Cabbage
issue is
Patch
you're
doll.
shopping at Target.
I had to get groceries. It's right across the street.
Did you wear your UGG boots in?
No. I did have my tight pants on though. My spandex.
Holding a
I did
Starbucks.
not.
I felt
No,
super
we
basic while I
boycott
was
Mike's
eating
Starbucks.
Starbucks breakfast.
Mike's in his white woman era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picked up a
He's in his best life.
Stanley mug.
Stanley Cup.
Bought a bitch for it.
All
I
right,
don't even know
so
what that's about, but I saw that some kid got like bullied for bringing in a fake one. And I was like, good, you should get bullied for bringing in fake stuff.
what's everybody's thought
Pro
about
bullying.
the movie
Bullying
as a whole?
works.
Well, yeah, what's our
So
thoughts on bullying? Let's go. Let's get those takes here. Should you be bullied for enjoying Prince of Persia: Sands of Time?
No,
Yeah.
but
So
No.
you should be questioned.
Yeah,
I
about how you enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
found a
If
lot
you
of
tell me it's your
entertainment
favorite
in
movie, I
some.
need to know why.
Yeah.
I got to make fun of it. I got to look at the casting and be like, oh, that's some like German guy. Fucking Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal's Swedish. Like, it was fun to make fun of in that sense.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal's terrible wig. So it was so like to it being a good bad movie, it doesn't reach Clash of the Titans, obviously. Nothing that's a good peak. But it does have some like
Where does it
little
fall on the Clash of the Titans to Wrath of the Titans scale?
it's not Wrath of the Titans, but it had some like good bad moments. The hair, the hair really bothered me. As
No,
you
the
could see,
obvious stunt
the
doubles
castings,
call was a
the
good
obvious
one
stunt double.
because
Oh
I
my
had that
God,
in
there
my
were
head, but I
so
didn't really think
many.
about it.
There were so many where it's just like that's just a red. That guy is more brown than
yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaal.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cast that
I
guy.
mean,
yeah.
there was a really fun meta commentary joke, and I think it was the superhero movie back in the era when there was just like
Oh
genre
yeah,
spoof
yeah, yeah.
movies
It's
where
the
Lily from How I Met Your Mother, I don't remember the actress's name. I think it's Allison something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
she like walks over
a
and gets
small
on a
petite
motorcycle.
redheaded woman.
Yeah,
For our
gets on a
Malaysian
motorcycle in a
listeners.
pink dress, revs the engine, and then it wide cuts to a black man in a pink dress
Absolutely
doing a
jacked.
wheelie.
Absolutely jacked.
Yeah.
Just doing that's the classic Pip. Like there is this one moment where he does another like one of these jumps, and you just see the stunt double just
Yeah.
bend his head down so you can't actually see the profile of his face. So obvious that he just, just again, so you can only see the forehead. It's just
Yeah.
like it's embarrassing.
As
They did
someone
that shot
who
25 times to
yeah,
get the tuck right.
Yeah.
as someone who has watched enough Corridor crew reacting to stunt doubles with stunt people, I know all the things to look for when they're trying to hide their identity.
And they
But
really did not do a good job with
No.
that in this one.
this is squarely a FX movie. Like
Yes, that's
this
where I
is
watched it.
Yeah.
this is squarely FX
Well, growing
material.
up, I should say.
It doesn't
The editing
belong
is the
anywhere
worst part
else.
of it.
I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus. I saw,
It
which
Yeah.
is.
is
Because it's a
hilarious.
Disney
It is a
movie.
Disney
So it would never
property.
be on FX.
I will
I don't think they
say
would ever put it on there, but
I like reading this movie as an allegory for the press inciting the war in Iraq and promoting the lies that there are weapons of mass destruction there.
They have the Sands of Time.
Hell yeah.
I
Saddam
did enjoy
Hussein
that reading.
has the sands of time, folks.
They're forging weapons. Seen the forges.
and it
Is
was
that how
all
we got
Dick
rid of the
Cheney
Kurds? To
behind
use
it.
the Sands of Time to go back in time and erase them from existence?
Yeah, Dick Cheney got it. He got the sword after, or the dagger after he falsely led Bush there and did a terrorism on the Middle East population.
So
You know,
yeah,
Dick Cheney's going to go back in time to lock George W. Bush in the coffin with Geronimo's skull and skull and bones, so he suffocates and dies. So he becomes president.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do. The other thing I want to talk about is the conclusion of this movie, which I felt really was kind of hilarious to just
Oh my god.
undo
Well,
everything.
so here's the thing. That is what happens in the game.
Yeah.
Is it?
That
Okay.
is what
Yeah.
happens in the game. Is that and it's the bit with their relationship. The princess and which
And that would be the spinoff.
I don't actually remember if she's a princess in the game, but
She is.
okay, but
She's considerably younger.
yeah, okay, there's an age gap discourse there. Yeah, they like,
and not a Persian name, or
they
not
have
like a
this
very
they have this
traditional Persian
strained
name.
relationship throughout the game. They come to fall for each other. They,
Over and over.
they
I
grow
think it was
close. She
I think
has
it
to
was a
die.
Yahtzee take where he was talking about the Sands of Time romance being an actual like display of romance over time in a game versus how it's usually shown off.
Right. No, he's very complimentary of it. I know the video you're talking about. Um, and it's how like she dies in a very similar fashion where it's like she like has to like sacrifice herself so the prince can save the day. And then time is redone. They meet again and he's trying to basically convince her of everything that happened. And like it ends with them, coming back. She kind of rejects him at first, uh, but then like there's a realization that, oh, he's telling the truth, that he knows more. And then she's, starts to understand that, oh yeah, there was maybe something there that the sands have time of undone.
Yeah,
And
he knew things that he wouldn't have known otherwise.
yeah. Because there's like in the game, there's like the game starts with a narrator like telling this story, and
Mm,
you learn that it's the prince telling the princess everything
Yes.
that happened after time had reset. And it's like, yeah, at first she doesn't believe
uh,
him, and then he tells her something that she told him in confidence, like, like what's the key phrase,
What's your horoscope, baby?
yeah.
What's your
No,
sign?
that's given out freely, and that's no secret with
Mhm.
the girlies.
So that is very much that is part of the adaptation. For me, my criticism of it was how fucking quickly he outs the uncle.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for
How
sure.
quickly that was resolved. I was just
Yeah.
Yes,
like, what the
they
fuck?
needed like they needed
Dude's
another 10
plan,
minutes to the movie.
Ben Kingsley's plan just disintegrates in
Yeah.
under the slightest bit of criticism. you know.
And he's just like, I'm gonna try to kill this motherfucker in front of everyone,
Right? No,
and then
he's
dies.
he's got a breakdown.
Yeah.
He's a bisexual man with mental health problems, and just
It's a
can't
JoJo reference.
yeah, can't handle the pressure, and it's
Why he's got the mascara,
got to do
the eyeliner,
a nephew killing at that point.
a nepicide.
Yeah, I mean, who amongst us?
Uncle Magic ran out.
It did indeed.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a true uncle, that's why. So it was, so it was a different type of Uncle Magic that had less of a connection,
Oh no, what are you doing, step uncle?
Yeah.
I don't really want to go into the plot of this.
There's no plot to talk about.
I don't really want to do that.
I will say one thing I wanted to discuss about the plot with the dagger, at least, is I thought that, I made the joke that it was her virginity being kept there, and it ended up being true. It was, the pureness of the little girl that the gods saved, that was passed down through all these little girls that were led to fucking potentially be lambs to slaughter, for
It was
centuries
also a
or whatever.
more appropriate in movie knife than the Star Wars 9.
Yes.
Was it 9?
Yes,
Nine,
good
yeah.
call.
9
Yeah.
knife.
Good, nice
This
grab on
this
that one.
dagger, yeah, that is perfectly shaped like the remnants of the Death Star as it's been eroded by the Endor Ocean for 3 decades.
Yeah,
It only
that,
lines up
like,
if you're standing perfectly in this one spot and nowhere else, because that's exactly how that works.
and also daggers in Star Wars, like that's not the weapon of choice.
There are here's me showing my true colors. There are vibroblades. Come on.
Yes.
That's not a dagger, like that is a vibroblade.
It's a dagger
do you
that
think the
vibrates.
Star
Vibroblade
Wars
dagger.
goes,
Yeah,
"Brrr."
sure. But that's like
Do
a
you think-
high-tech dagger. This is like
Fucking
a rusty
nerds.
looking fucking
Do you think the Star Wars universe has a ban on daggers like we do?
I don't know. I think they should. This is
dagger.
this is a movie about bros being guys, and I don't know, there is some anti-woman stuff. There is a woman
Oh,
coffee
yeah.
cup emoji stuff when she keeps trying to steal the dagger and gets enslaved right away.
Yeah.
I also
it's
love that she kept the sands in her boobs, and it was like the ha ha he he. Jake Gyllenhaal's looking at her titties.
I'm looking at your boobies. But for real,
I mean-
I'm looking at that magic powder you got.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, that was Jake Gyllenhaal looking at it, but that was the director saying we need to look at it together.
This is
Which
for
again is a
this
product
for
of the time. Like Michael
this is
Bay
for the
was doing that
picture
all the time.
This is
Yeah.
for the picture.
You weren't going to see
this.
bringing it back Transformers 1
Yeah.
because Michael Bay was filming Megan Fox.
Running in slow-mo. Yeah. So we need to do this for the film. Just
There's got to be a car wash scene.
computer enhance. Yeah, it's but yeah, bros being guys and guys being bros, enemies turning to friends and friends turning into enemies.
This movie is slightly ahead of its time in that it is entirely sexless outside of the one booba shot, though. Like,
There's
unless I'm
one
misremembering.
kiss. There's one kiss. There is one
Okay.
kiss. Because they do
It
fuck
was a
in the game.
PG-13 movie, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
They do fuck in the game. That
Mm.
But
is
there wasn't even that much sexual tension, really.
In 2002 was the peak
wasn't
of we're
great.
having sex in video games because that was when God of War was doing it. You had Prince of Persia, GTA with their because is that GTA 4?
San
Ubisoft
Andreas.
brought it back.
you can definitely thank Theo Bungler for this. This is an Obama era film. When we're starting to get it's MCU is starting to take its rightful place. Deforming our culture. Basically
It's destiny.
leeching every bit of sex.
Is this
out
where
of-
we
out
start
of
the
our
topic
media.
of was the MCU a psyop?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. It's, it's a Pentagon funded psyop from the start.
Yeah, they had so much to do with those movies.
You need your superheroes, i.e., our troops and boys in blue, to protect us from the big purple man.
I actually think that the bigger topic was, hey, you weird engineering kids who no one likes, you can make an Iron Man suit and be cool. Then everyone will have to like you.
So many of those YouTube videos out there.
The one bit of plot that for me that was like the real stumble here was the lore dump of the what the sands of time are. It
Oh,
truly
so
it
much just talking.
it truly was just an exposition dump, and it's just like this makes no sense. There's no like cultural myth to back this that I at least that I'm aware of, and
There's
it
a
just
YouTube channel
Yeah,
I
I don't.
watched that when,
it's unclear what god or gods you're
yeah,
talking about. It's
Yeah.
also is a very strange thing to me. This is the Persian Empire, and there's like it is. They are very like like Islamified.
yeah,
In
Yeah.
this really strange way. They're made very secular in this way, and
Well, and
beyond the king praying a lot. That was a big part of his characterization, but they don't say like who he's praying to. This
well, in
princess,
the
this princess and the holy city of Alamut, they like are like polytheistic. They believe in these gods, and there's one line where Jake Gyllenhaal says "No gods of mine" or something like that, and it's just like what the fuck.
so I think it was like the Alama is kind of supposed to be like Southeast Asia into
Alamut
India
is an
part of
actual
the
place in
empire.
Iran. That's it's based off of a real area in
Well,
Iran,
so
which
okay,
is
so I didn't.
Persia is Iran.
So that makes it worse. But
what?
because the deities that they were like showing and like the statues in the princess's palace or whatever in her city
I
were
don't think
very
it's a
like
Buddha.
Hindu
I
looking.
don't. Yes, I don't.
No,
I don't.
it was very Hindu
I don't think
to
they're the
me.
Bodhisattva.
No, it seemed very Hindu, and that would be polytheistic, and there was like
Well,
the multi-handed
that's an
gods.
interesting point because in the game, this is something I learned that the where the sands of time and the where the those who keep the dagger I think are supposed to be more in India. They're supposed to be like one of the fuck what were the imperial rulers in the Mughals?
Brahmins.
The Mughals, is that what they were in India? Um it's like it was like that they're visiting like a Mughal lord who in the area of the Hindu Kush is where that
Yeah, Mughal.
sanctuary was supposed to take place, and that's not clear. That is definitely not the case in this adaptation, but in the game, that's what it was. Is like that the Persian emperor is traveling far from the imperial base to this far out land, far reaching land of their imperial holdings. But it is supposed to be more in that area, but that's definitely
Yeah,
not
so
what it's supposed to be here.
no, but that's what I assumed based on the statues I saw was that, it just seemed very Hindu to me. The multi hands, there was like it looked like animal representations of or like partially animal representations of
I'm sure they
gods.
were going ambiguous enough where they're just saying
Yeah.
it's polytheistic. These are generic polytheistic looking esque deities.
No, it was
Yeah,
Don't
definitely,
think I'm an
they don't. Yeah,
Eastern.
yeah. They don't care
They're
about being,
pagans.
culturally accurate or sensitive in
no.
any way. There's like, let's
Yeah.
mishmash it. Let's throw it all
Yeah.
together.
That
It,
like
I was,
when they
I
Even the
start
was,
lore dumping
names.
like that, I just start to immediately just zone out and start staring at the modern art from
yeah,
the
I was,
Scientologists above my TV.
I was really struck by that, de-Islamification of the Persians and
Mhm.
the Persian Empire, which was odd to me.
I mean, not incredibly odd given the time.
The
Like
time,
we're
I
still on the
guess.
hunt for Osama. We're 2 years out from getting him. supposedly, allegedly.
No, just a year.
It was
No,
2011.
2012.
Or yeah, I guess it
11
was early 2012.
was May 2011.
I thought it
Although
was
it may also be proof of my ignorance here. Um, so when actually did the when was the Persian
2011.
Empire?
That's what I was more questioning
Persian
because
Empire may have actually been
There,
pre may
it,
have actually I
I was
think
gonna
yeah,
it's
say
it
pre
is
there
pre.
does come a
It
pre-Islam.
is
point where it
pre.
does freeze.
Pre-Islam.
But they would have some sort of like they had they worship their kings, or their it would be an
The
emperor. It
Persian
would be,
Empire ran from 559 BCE
yeah.
to 331 BCE.
Yeah, so it's pre-Islam, but still would have there would be some like culture to them. They very much still had culture, and there was really nothing to show that they had religion, that there was nothing to show.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was weird how okay, they were Zoroastrian.
Yeah.
They were
Nice.
Zoroastrian at the time.
Okay, so they were
Based.
basic, they were proto-Christians.
So
Yeah.
Basically,
now,
yeah.
now, what you have to understand is you're looking at this through the lens of Ubisoft, which is a French company, looking back on.
Well, Disney looking back on Ubisoft, looking back on Prince of Persia, or Persian Empire.
They're basically sun worshippers. I mean, pretty much every monotheistic religion is
A
some
sun worshiper.
is a sun. Yeah, worshiping of the
Yeah.
sun god.
I mean, think 300.
It's weird
That's
how
Persian
every
Empire.
religion or like every society created a religion about the two giant orbs that float through the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Based.
I mean, what else are you going to do? It's always there. It's got to be important.
So, what are our overall thoughts of the film? I mean, we can do our rankings, maybe talk a little bit more, but I'm like very like again middle of the road. There are like I think this is like pretty good. I think it's better. It's better as an adaptation than as a film, which is not always the case with these movies and stuff that we look at.
With these films.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
we've
always.
we've actually had a couple that rank better as movies than they do as adaptations.
Yeah, but I don't think this is a
Yeah,
bad. I don't think this is, like
no. This is
I
not
did.
getting a 1.
I did not have as rough
No,
a time getting through it
this
as
movie
Matt
wasn't
did.
bad enough to be bad enjoyable for me, but it also wasn't good enough to make me like. I had
Yeah.
to, as I said before, watch it in 2 sittings because
That I think
45
is
minutes into my first sitting, I was like, I am fucking falling asleep to this shit. I need to be doing
It was
something else.
I think
it was
that's its
definitely a
biggest
better
sin. Is that it's just
yeah,
is
and
that
I think
it's
that's
too
why
it's
I
too
had a
average. It's too average.
well, and I had a better time watching it with Andrew because we got to like make fun of it and talk about it a bit while it was going on. So that made it more entertaining and just like a better viewing experience. It's one of those movies that definitely
Yeah, you
like
have to
watching it
watch it like you
alone,
do the
you
Rocky
can't,
Horror Picture Show.
yeah, you got to engage with it.
This, yeah, for me, this is like its greatest sin is how inoffensive it is. Like, this isn't a good movie, but it's also not so bad as to be enjoyable. Um, and for me, that's kind of like the most boring thing you can do. So, well,
Got to commit to something.
yeah.
You can't take yourself, you either have to be super serious or not take yourself seriously at all and just lean into the kitsch and lean into the goofiness and
Mm-hmm.
the silliness of being a wild video game movie with crazy mechanics like going back in time and doing all this shit.
Make it camp.
Right, yeah, embrace the camp. I'm always a fan of camp
One
over.
of these days, there will be a movie who will be dedicated enough to have NPCs recycle dialogue when you talk to them. I think Jumanji with The Rock did that.
Mm.
They might have.
I distinctly remember they like land in the world and there's like a guy in
Yes.
like a Jeep who picks them
Yeah.
up who just keeps
Yes, it's
recycling
it's
the
Rice
same.
Darby's
Yes.
character. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Does Jumanji count as a?
Yeah, it's a board game.
Although I think it was reversed, right? Didn't
It
they
Yeah.
was a
create
movie
the
and then a
board?
board game.
Yeah, it's a reverse
I
It's a
didn't
adaptation,
know
book.
that.
It's a book adaptation first is really what it is.
and then they created the
Uh,
game. So yeah, I don't think we could maybe review the game. How does the game live up to the experience of the movie? I'm not getting a stampede through my living room.
Yeah, there are
Return
no
it. Return it.
monkeys.
Return it.
yeah.
There's no man trying to do the greatest game with me, the most dangerous game
Yeah,
with
most
me.
Yeah.
dangerous game.
So
Robin Williams didn't show up.
R.I.P. to the legend.
Rip.
He's actually dead. Did not just get sucked back into the board game and did not turn into what did they do? It that was like the one bad thing that I didn't like of the Rock one is didn't they make like Joe Jonas or one of the Jonas brothers? I forget which
Yes.
one. Wasn't
Nick
he
Jonas.
wasn't he
Yeah.
a young Robin Williams?
Essentially, yes.
Upsetting, deeply
Weird.
upsetting.
All right, ratings.
Overflowing with charisma to charisma black hole.
No
I
Riz.
mean, it's
L.
better than them doing an AI deep fake, de-aged.
Well, yeah. Now, if they made Jumanji now, they would have.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even
6 years ago
closer
or
to back
whenever.
then is when they were still doing the shitty Princess Leia, which isn't actually
That's
shitty
fair.
if you
That
go
was
through
the
the actual
first,
effects
though.
of it, but
Really.
it looks shitty because you know it's not real.
The Tarkin one has been the best so far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can still see it and it's still uncanny, but it's I think the best implementation of it. But yeah,
It's because
okay.
he's so sharp and old. Anyways, all right. Ratings.
I'm giving the movie a 6.5. I'm doing movie 6.5 for all the reasons we've talked about. It's just too inoffensive for its own good. It either needed to be, better, which I don't think was in the cards.
Yeah.
So like I think the only oddly enough as it is, I think it needed to be like, shittier
Hmm.
and stupider in order to actually be a better movie. So more and to be more entertaining. It needed to be a worse movie to be more entertaining.
Hmm.
Yeah. I would give it as a movie. I would go a little lower than you. I'd put it at 5.8. I drop it
Damn
0.2
it.
points below
You
a D.
literally did the same as me. That was what I was gonna do.
Yeah. I'm dropping it 0.2 points below a D because I don't think it deserves a passing grade. I think it has to
Agreed.
retry this semester, come back next year.
Back try again.
Yeah.
So two 5.8s we got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna go 5.75, but to make it
I
simpler.
was mentally at 5.75 and I was like, we're not doing two decimal places.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. No, so I'm glad you took the lead there. We'll keep it at 1 decimal.
I'm going with just a flat 5. I think this is the most middle road it gets as a movie. It you know,
if someone asked you
this is
to
a
show them a
5.
milk toast movie.
Yeah.
So that gives us an average of 5.8.
Nice.
Slightly rounds up to 5.8.
That's right. We
Like
win.
it's
Ding, ding, ding.
5.775. But so it's a
Wow.
5.
That directly splits the 5.75, 5.8 as well.
Yeah. Nice. Kismet.
I go for adaptation. I go up and give it a 7.
I'd agree with you there actually, but I would drop it to a 6.9.
just to be nice.
Nice. Yeah, I am giving it a higher adaptation score than movie score. I'll go to the 6 for adaptation.
And I'm gonna go 6.9.
Way to be original.
Nice.
It felt right.
Well, I kind of want the number to come out. I'm hoping we
It won't work this
we
time just
land
because
on
of averages.
there.
We'll be a little
Yeah.
under.
Let's see. Yep, 6.7 is
Damn
is the final.
Yeah, you're using a calculator. I'm using this old noggin right here.
uh
I
yeah,
can't do the maths.
I do think in general
I can visualize it.
you guys have slightly higher standards in some film stuff than I do, particularly in these adaptations.
I tend to kneecap things when they bore me.
True, and that's where I'm most apt to criticize something. Like I love bad, stupid
Yes.
movies.
Give me
Like
give me
This was not
campy
that.
bad.
yeah.
Steer into it.
See, like I found parts of Monster Hunter a little bit more entertaining than this because
I
it like
agree.
there were times where
You see, the
it
problem
leaned
with how
into
we
the
do these
silliness more.
movie podcasts is that our timeline for grading only looks worse the farther out you bring it, because like the more scale you add to it, it's like, oh God, we're like all over the place here. Like maybe eventually we do like a re-ranking.
Each movie's ranked on its own scale.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
We do a YouTube video at the end of the year where we tier list them. Boom.
yeah, because there's no
Yeah.
like
Easy content.
I do each one on
There
its
you
own
go.
merit. I'm
Nice.
not like there is no hard and
Yeah.
fast movie or movie adaptation, video game adaptation rubric that I'm
Well,
grading off
I
of.
I mean,
It's
I
purely
will
vibes
say
for me.
I will say that, mostly vibes, but there is an end on each spectrum. I forget which movie we were giving. Was it Warcraft that we gave a bunch of like zeros and ones and shit?
Yeah, I think
Like,
that's the lowest that
I
we've
mean
hit
yeah,
so far.
that was the peak of a movie that bored the fuck out of me.
Yeah,
Because every time they
that did
started
not have
talking about Glubor and Plop,
that did not have a second of camp. That was
yeah. So I have
bad.
like
That
a
was
floor
bad
and a
and trying
ceiling.
to be extremely
dramatic.
serious.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
I
did not
definitely have
hit.
a floor and a ceiling for adaptations. I don't know if we have an example yet of something that was like a 10, but
Doom.
like I'll know it when I see it type thing.
I think Last of Us has been our highest.
Yeah.
Is our
Last
highest
of Us was
Yeah.
really good.
has I think been our highest rated.
I was very skeptical of Last of Us.
I think if and when we do Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I think that'll come up. I mean, we've been complimentary of a lot of the TV shows. We were
Yeah.
Yes.
we were very positive on Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say
that's
Arcane is
a lot of the things with TV shows is you can spread out a little more on your development, whereas movies you have to cram so much character
Yeah, I mean,
development into that 2 hour window.
where I'm not surprised that the TV shows we score higher on the adaptation mark for all of that reasoning that like you have time to dive into both plot and character better. It's just more that most TV shows nowadays are bad just because they're not TV
Mhm.
shows, they're 13-hour movies that have incredibly bad pacing and shit like that. It's
Oh,
rare
I
to
thought you were
find
going to
a
say they were
good
just means
television
of
show.
selling you ad-based subscription services.
Yeah, I mean it's transition from movies,
That as
we're
well.
just there to sell you fucking merchandise and toys, but
Merchandise and popcorn. The big subsidy was the movie theater popcorn industry.
yeah,
So we got to keep subsidizing big corn.
the game has always been the same, but just like the rules that it's playing are slightly different. It's but yeah, that is an interesting observation though that we have been much more positive on the television shows that we've picked.
And I mean, Arcane season 2 got its
not
first trailer.
Yeah, but not everyone exists that way.
Halo.
I was gonna say we were pretty harsh on Halo, which is also just got a new trailer for its season 2. Are we gonna be watching, boys? Are we gonna be watching season 2?
yes.
Mhm.
He's all Matt's holding gun to it. He's doing the holding gun to
He's
his
doing the
face then to
Shane
himself.
Gillis. Yeah, the Shane Gillis meme. GIF.
Yeah. I'm hopeful for some good stuff in the future because we can't just do movies because
we
there
should
honestly
definitely do
aren't
Edge
that
Runners
many.
as a palate cleanse.
Yeah, there aren't honestly
point.
that many video game movies. There's like less than 50.
Did we say we were doing Advent Children next month for Final Fantasy just to be full weebs for a month, or did we not agree on that?
You some kind of weeaboo. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm more in line to appreciate Advent Children now that I've played the original Final Fantasy VII and have seen the whole story. But there's even still more that I don't fully grasp. Like Matt and I watched Advent Children recently, and I was I was pretty lost. I gotta admit,
Oh boy.
I was pretty lost for that one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't think we decided it because I think we threw around Cyberpunk Edge Runners as
Yes.
a choice.
I mean, I would be willing to do that.
I would look forward to doing a rewatch of that, so I'd have. Okay. Plugs. Follow us on twitch.tv/campaign comrades, where you can find some content in the middle of the week in between episodes. We have one more episode for the month of January, our news roundup of the month.
Or extra.
And then next month, we are doing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 as our game adaptation. So you two boys who haven't played or finished playing, got to get on that shit. And
starting today.
And then I believe the goal is to try to, if Matt can get around to writing something, to do like a.
Well, I got plans. We just got to pick a date, so I have
a D&D
an end frame.
To do a D&D one shot.
Even if it's not a live one, we just record it and then release it or something. Yeah. Not just doing like a straight Twitch.
Oh no, I was figuring we would just do it here on like a normal podcast recording day.
Yes. It's something you could do as a Twitch later on with practice, but like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to be able to do it off live so that I can fuck up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so you can edit and do what you want.
Okay. So I can be like, you're a level 1 party and you have encountered an ancient gold dragon.
But that's the podcast. Then it's like you die in 10 minutes. There you go. Enjoy. All right. I think that's it. Check out the socials. We're CamCon Pod in most places, or just Camping Comrades. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And although you're listening to this, I'm mixing in my plugs now. Sorry. I think that's it for today. We will see you next week for the end of the month. Bye-bye.